At a poorly attended rally in Georgia over the weekend, Donald Trump continued to fawn over dictators like Kim Jong Un and Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. And his statements were full of what appeared to be sexual innuendo. I don't know. Let's watch.
And when Kim Jong Un watches this in North Korea, remember we were going to be in a war, according to Obama, with North Korea. We didn't have any war. In fact, I got along after the first 2 months of fighting him verbally. It was mostly a verbal fight. He said, I don't like that guy. And he said, I have a red button on my desk. And then I said, remember, I have a red button also. And my button is bigger and stronger than yours, and my button works. Remember that?
That was sexual innuendo at the end, right? Like, just please stop.
Yeah, it clearly is, because there is no such thing as a bigger button. Like, that's not an analogy for anything. And
a stronger button? Like,
yeah, how's a button stronger? Does that make it harder to press? Wouldn't that be a problem? And so I don't want to hear about your big red strong buttons. It's weird, okay? But yeah, they love it on the Republican side. It doesn't matter. He could say anything. He could have said, "Oh, I showed him my penis," and the crowd would be like, "Yes!" Right? So he doesn't even need an analogy.
And then he goes on to talk about how, their relationship later changed, and the North Korean dictator, like they got along. He referred to him as a smart guy, a tough guy. And it's just, look, we know Donald Trump seems to have an affinity for authoritarians, for dictators. He tends to have complimentary things to say about them. He just loves writing dictators. Like, that's all he does all day long, especially during these rallies. And it's amazing to me because he got pushback after Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, right? He referred to Putin as a genius. He got a lot of backlash for that. Even Republican voters, even his own supporters are not happy with what Putin did. But Trump just can't help himself. So in the next clip, he addresses Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Let's watch.
But as you probably saw yesterday, now he's sending long-range missiles up, and he doesn't respect very strongly President Biden. But he liked me. We had 2 summits. We got along great. I know a lot of things about him. He's a smart guy. He's a tough guy. Every time I say somebody's smart, they always go, "Oh, Trump said that President Xi of China is smart." Well, he runs 1.5 billion people with an iron fist. Yeah, I think he's pretty smart. And they have a chain over there. If you're a dummy, you get left here. It's like this, it's like a pyramid. The smartest one gets to the top. That didn't work so well recently in our country. Didn't work too well. But they asked me, is Putin smart? Yes, Putin was smart.
Listen, Trump is a big fan of fists. He mentions the iron fist because that is exactly what appeals to him about the very individuals that he was mentioning in the clip you just watched. He loves the idea of being able to rule over people, to have complete control over everything in government, to have complete control over the fate of the people in any given country. That just appeals to him. That's why he specifically emphasized iron fist.
Yeah, well, look, this got weird and funny. I mean, you want to talk about sexual innuendo. When you get to iron fist, I'm out. So I don't know what he's doing with that analogy, but well, I'm going to come back to that though. First of all, he was accidentally right there. I mean, look at he's such a goofball. He's like, there they have like a pyramid, and the smart one gets to the top, not us. Yeah, you won the presidency. It's clear that we don't have that pyramid where the smart guy gets to the top. How is he not self-aware as he says that? That's because he's incredibly dumb. He's one of the dumbest people that's ever been in politics. So he's like, oh, the smart people are not winning. You won, schmuck, you won, right? And by the way, what happened? I thought you won the second time. Because he was making an allusion, obviously, to Biden, right? Not being smart, yet he won the presidency. I thought he didn't win. What happened? Oh, interesting. Okay, but overall, this bromance with these dictators, it's like an old school classic movie, where the woman like kind of fights back. It's kind of uncomfortable when we look at it today, right? And the guy teases her, and they go tease back and forth. Oh, and then don't you do that? And the woman is angry at the guy, and then they wrestle with each other's buttons, and then next thing you know, they're in love, and they're writing love letters to one another. And that's Trump and Kim Jong Un. That's almost exactly. Now, by the way, not my description, his description. He talked about the pulsating buttons and how mad they were at each other and how they were just arguing, and then all of a sudden he said they fell in love. You can go and look at the quotes. He said it. It's amazing. But the most important point is the one Anna made about the iron fist. He says, "Oh, he rules with an iron fist. That's so smart." No, we're a democracy. We don't think ruling with an iron fist is smart. We think it's terrible. But he genuinely likes it. That's what he wants. That's why when he lost the last election, he didn't want to leave. He's like,
right.
He doesn't give a damn about democracy and who you voted for. He wants to rule with an iron fist. He admires those guys. And he thinks that they have a courage that he doesn't have. That's why he looks at them like longingly.
I think that he is under the impression that they have courage that he does have, but our pesky little system is standing in the way. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he does not value our Constitution. He doesn't value our system of government, and he certainly does not value democracy, which is why he was pretty adversarial toward our longtime Democratic allies, small d Democratic, and incredibly favorable and complimentary toward all sorts of authoritarians and dictators across the globe. Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong Un, Rodrigo Duterte, Jair Bolsonaro. I mean, the list goes on and on. In the meantime, he was incredibly brutal in his commentary toward people like Angela Merkel from Germany.
Yeah, so look, when he gets to Putin, he said, "Oh, he's so smart. He was a genius for how he handled it." He said that after the invasion as well. Well, did it turn out he was smart? No, he's not smart. He walked himself into a bear trap and was totally ignorant as to the actual capabilities of his military, the capabilities of the allies to unite against them. But Trump doesn't care about whether he's smart or not. He wouldn't know smart if it slapped him across the face like Will Smith. He cares about, is he brutal? Will people obey him no matter what? And he likes Putin and Kim Jong Un because of their brutality, not because of their intelligence. Kim Jong Un got the job because he was a grandson of a guy who won an internal political battle decades ago. Kim Jong Un didn't do anything for it. He's not remotely smart. He just inherited a dictatorship. But that's actually the thing that Trump envies.